just finished recapping the Super Bowl and talking about what the Vikings need to do in 2018 if they're going to have a shot to compete or be a legitimate contender for the Super Bowl in 2018 with that brutal schedule that they got for next season. So, going to talk some NBA stuff. But how could I forget this? I deserve to just end my own show because how could I forget to even mention this? I should have mentioned this on the last segment. Randy Moss, first ballot Hall of Famer. I want to give a congratulations to the Hall of Fame committee. Good job for voting this man in, doing what you should have done. What you should have done with T.O. But damn it, if you screwed over Randy Moss like you did T.O., I would have blew a head gasket. Good job. He deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Fame. Randy Moss is the reason why I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. So here's the thing. I have no affiliation with the state of Minnesota whatsoever. I mean, I've been there 3 or 4 times to watch Minnesota Vikings games. I've seen them play the last year in the Metrodome when they played the Washington Redskins. I saw them play at TCF Bank Stadium. And I saw them last year, 2016. I believe that was the first year of the new stadium of US Bank Stadium. So Randy Moss, I have no affiliation with Minnesota. I've been there a couple of times. The Lucy Juicy, I believe it's called, the burger that they have is one of the best burgers that you'll ever have. Mall of America is fantastic. Radisson Blu is a great hotel. I've been to Brits a couple of times. It's really good. It's a very good time. Every time I go there, I have a very good time. I have no affiliation with the state of Minnesota as far as I wasn't born there or raised there. I just became a Vikings fan because of Randy Moss. Growing up, the only thing I knew about football growing up in the Washington, D.C. area was Redskins versus Cowboys. That's all. That's the only thing I knew about football. Redskins, I grew up in Washington, D.C. area, so obviously Redskins everywhere. But when they played the Cowboys every year, it was like the Super Bowl for them. So that's the only thing I knew, and I never really identified with the Washington Redskins at all. But I tell you what, middle school 2000, I saw Randy Moss play, and that was it for me. I was sold. I'm like, damn it, I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. I compare Randy Moss to Vince Carter as far as those jaw-dropping plays that you only see in video games were made routine for those two players in their respective sports in regulation games. Vince Carter would do crazy like dunk contest type dunks, and obviously he's a dunk contest champion, but as far as dunk contest type of dunks, he would do those in regulation games, and Randy Moss would have those Madden-like video game catches, or like you see players do in warm-ups when they do one-handed catches or crazy like acrobatic catches just to show off. Randy Moss would do that in regulation games. Single coverage, double coverage, triple coverage, didn't matter. Randy Moss would always come down with the ball. Like I said, doing those jaw-dropping like plays in regulation games on a routine basis to where when Randy wouldn't catch the ball, even if it was insane coverage, you would say, oh, man, that's disappointing. You knew he would just catch the ball every single time. This dude's the greatest receiver of all time. I don't want to hear about Jerry Stickum Rice. No disrespect to him. The dude admitted he used Stickum. But then not only that, take that away, you had Joe Montana and you have Steve Young. T.O., he was a great receiver too, but he didn't have hands like Randy Moss. Randy Moss, outside of Tom Brady, his second best quarterback was Dante Culpepper. After that, who the hell knows after that? He had a bunch of scrubs as quarterbacks for the majority of his prime in his career, and he still put up Hall of Fame numbers. If this dude had a legitimate quarterback his whole career, like T.O., right? T.O., you could say, oh, his best quarterback that he ever had was Steve Young. After that, Tony Romo. After that, Donovan McNabb. After that, who's the guy that Jeff Garcia, maybe? He's had quarterbacks his entire career, right? So Randy Moss, to be able to do that, you know what? Some receivers that I would compare to today as far as that receivers that can bail out quarterbacks, not necessarily to the degree that Randy Moss did, but usually it's the quarterback that has to prop up the receiver. But receivers nowadays that I say that can bail out quarterbacks, DeAndre Hopkins is the first on my list. I would say Julio Jones, A.J. Green, Stephon Diggs, and Adam Thielen, they can do that as well. But Randy Moss, props up to you, man. Skull to you. Congratulations. This dude respect this man as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Congratulations. That's why I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan to this day, going on to, 18 years now at this point. So anyway, moving on to the NBA. I don't talk about the Dallas Mavericks much, but I am just real quick. I don't talk about them much because, I mean, you guys don't really care. So I guess maybe I'm doing myself a disservice by talking about them right now. It'll be real quick. Seth Curry is out for the year with the Dallas Mavericks. He hadn't played all season long. I don't believe he did. I've watched a few Dallas Mavericks games, and here's the thing. You can call me a bandwagon fan all you want to. If your product is garbage, there's no reason for me to watch. And I'm not talking – look, not to say that if you only win 10 games in the season, but how do you look? When Dennis Smith Jr. is not on the court, there is no reason for me to watch the Dallas Mavericks. It is just an awful product to watch. Wesley Matthews, I'm over that dude. He plays good defense, but his offense has never been there. Need to move on from that. Seth Curry, I was looking forward to seeing Dennis Smith Jr. and Seth Curry play together. And we may never see that. I believe Seth Curry, I believe he's a free agent heading into next season, so maybe they can sign him, assuming he comes back. Because Seth Curry, he went through, he's had some injury issues, and so I don't know if he'll be healthy to come back next year. We'll have to see if they even sign him to come back next year. I don't know. I would like to see them two play together because Seth Curry was becoming a star in his own right outside of his brother, right? People, when you say Seth Curry, be like, oh, you think of Steph Curry, but Seth Curry was becoming a star in his own right. So anyway, right now the standings right now, they're tied with the Atlanta Hawks for the worst record in the NBA, 17-37. They have a shot to go to get at least have a top 5 draft pick, hopefully, to go get Trae Young or Marvin Bagley. We'll just have to see who they end up with. But I'm very excited because here's the thing. Much like Josh McDaniels did to the Indianapolis Colts as far as spurning them. Hey, look, Josh McDaniels is nothing but DeAndre Jordan in disguise. So DeAndre Jordan showed he was the icing on the cake to show free agents just do not respect the Dallas Mavericks. You remember that spurn he did on the Mavs a couple of years ago where he's like, all right, I'll go with you. And then, the couple of days later, that was 4th of July weekend. I remember that very well, where he was at his house and Blake Griffin and Chris Paul and Doc Rivers were there, I believe, and they were the emojis and the Instagram posts and all that other crap. Free agents just do not respect the Dallas Mavericks. So the only way you build this team up to get respect from top-tier free agents or to get respect in general is to build through the draft. Look, I'm all about tanking. Tank. Do what you got to do. I'm good with the 2011 championship. If they never won a championship, oh my God, I don't know what I would do right now. I'd probably be foaming at the mouth. But I'm a lot calmer because I witnessed that 2011 championship that they won over LeBron James and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade of the Miami Heat. So hopefully, whatever draft pick they got, we got Harrison Barnes. He's okay. I mean, he's got a max contract. It is what it is. Everybody can get a max contract nowadays. If you put up 10 points and 6 rebounds, you're a max contract now. That's just how the NBA works. So we'll have to see from there. So anyway, moving forward to actual stuff, bigger NBA topics, the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cleveland Cavaliers right now, they're 3rd in the Eastern Conference and behind the Toronto Raptors and the Boston Celtics. Normally you think, well, they're 3rd in the Eastern Conference. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is that the Cleveland Cavaliers are just awful. They're just god-awful. And normally this every single year we go through this where we're sitting here like, oh, the Cavaliers or a LeBron James-led team, they're going through drama or they're struggling a little bit. But normally you always say, all right, they'll figure it out. They'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But now, as of recently, over the last, couple of weeks, maybe even the last couple of months, maybe even this entire year, the Cleveland Cavaliers have shown you that there's legitimate concerns on that team. This team has some real issues, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe they get beat by the Milwaukee Bucks or somebody else. I don't know. But I tell you what, even if they were to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, this team would be lucky to go 6 games against the Boston Celtics. I think the Celtics they would either sweep them or beat them in 5 games. All right? Because normally you can say, well, you still got LeBron James, you still got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Well, Kyrie Irving isn't there anymore. You got Isaiah Thomas, who's coming off, I believe, the hip injury. And Kevin Love hasn't really stepped up. I mean, he's had a very good year. Don't get me wrong. He's an all-star. He's had a very good year. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't stepped up to what I thought he would be as far as being essentially the number 2 option after Kyrie Irving left. You remember in Minnesota with the Timberwolves, the dude was a beast. The dude was a bona fide, almost, I don't know if I call him a superstar, if not that next tier right below it, but he hasn't really taken that next step up. To be honest, to me, he's been on a consistent wavelength like he was with Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. Now with Kyrie Irving gone, he's basically been the same guy. So I'm not going to discredit him for the job that he's been doing. I just thought he would do a little bit better being the number 2 option instead of the number 3. But with Isaiah Thomas, you got the drama of, calling him out, leading the charge against Kevin Love when he had to go away in one of those games, and they were questioning the legitimacy of it. And I'm like, Isaiah Thomas, and I've been a big supporter of him last year. I thought he should have been the most valuable player. Everybody's all cut up on the stats and triple-doubles and that. But Isaiah Thomas led the Boston Celtics to the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with Jay Crowder, and Avery Bradley was there, okay, but basically a bunch of okay players. For what Isaiah Thomas did as Mr. Fourth Quarter, I thought he should have been MVP. But moving forward into this year, this dude needs to sit the hell down somewhere as far as leading the charge. And Kevin Love, what were you doing? I know that was a couple of weeks ago, but the dude has been playing like straight butt. This dude, Isaiah Thomas is shooting 36% from the field, 23% from three-point land. Who the hell do you think you are? Oh, my God. I'm going to bring out the Brinks truck. Bring out the Brinks truck. What you better bring out the Play School truck, or you better bring out the Tonka truck or something to bring maybe, I don't know, a little grocery bag full of some dough. You earn, okay, fine with you. But come on, man. Who the hell are you to be sitting there talking trash and leading the charge? What have you been doing, Kevin Love? You need to sit the hell down somewhere and play some better basketball. But then not only that, I'm not giving LeBron James a pass on this. I know LeBron James, his play has been going down. He's not the number 1 player in the world to me anymore. I'm sorry. I've been saying that ever since the finals of last year. Kevin Durant is the best player in the world to me because he's an all-around scorer. He plays defense. He's a good passer, very underrated passer. But Kevin Durant is the best player in the world to me. I would put LeBron James in the top 3. Maybe, Steph Curry, James Harden, I put them up there. But you know what? LeBron James just hasn't been the same player, because what have we always said about LeBron James as far as why he's the best player in the world? Obviously, his playmaking ability. He's the best playmaker in the entire NBA. Maybe you could say Chris Paul or Ricky Rubio is, as far as just a pure playmaker in itself. But LeBron James is certainly one of the top 3. I would say probably the best in the NBA. Obviously, he can score when he wants to. His jump shot has gotten better. But the one thing that you add on to it, as far as what separates him as far as from being to be the best player in the world, was his defense. LeBron James used to be a phenomenal defender. I remember so many times, especially in that series against the Chicago Bulls, and I believe that was against the MVP Derrick Rose, where he went right mano-a-mano, defended Derrick Rose. Why? Because he was causing havoc. Traditionally, I remember LeBron James where he would traditionally guard the opposing 3, the small forward of the opposite team, and then depending on who would start to go off, because, LeBron James, he can guard 1 through 5 and all that. Depending on if anybody decided to give him or give the Cleveland Cavaliers or Miami Heat any type of problems, LeBron James would match up against them because he was an elite defender. LeBron James' defense now is god-awful. LeBron James looks like he doesn't even try half the time on defense. So that's, to me, why if you're just a playmaker, and yeah, you can score, you can get in the basket, you can get some free throws, and I get all that. That's all well and good. But his defense was that extra cherry on top that was like, okay, this is why he's the best player in the world, but his defense just isn't there. But I will say this. Every single year we hear LeBron James needs help. He does need help. His team is garbage. Outside of Kevin Love, his team is garbage. But here's where I do not give LeBron James a pass. Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith. Now, Tristan Thompson, he's averaging 6 points a game and 6 rebounds, right? Tristan Thompson this year is getting paid $16.5 million. Next year he's getting paid $17.5 million, and the year after that he'll get paid $18.5 million before he becomes an unrestricted free agent. J.R. Smith this year is averaging 8 points a game and 2 assists. He's shooting 38% from the field. He's shooting 35% from 3, but he's been a very streaky shooter. Obviously, he's been streaky for a big part of his career, but hey, this is what LeBron James signed up for. And then Tyronn Lue is your head coach. You force the Cleveland Cavaliers because they don't want to see LeBron James get mad again, right? They don't want to see him leave again like he did before with the decision to go to Miami. So what does LeBron do? Hey, you better sign Tristan Thompson, making social media posts, get it done. Miss my brother, Tristan Thompson, and all this other stuff. And he's a client of LRMR, which is the agency of LeBron James. So you force the Cleveland Cavaliers to sign Tristan Thompson to a 5-year, $82 million contract. Are we for what? For what is it? What's he doing again? 6 points and 6 rebounds a game. You're averaging 20 minutes a game, and that's who deserves all that damn money. So why can't you make moves? Oh, why can't we're up against the cap and luxury tax and all this? Because they're signing dudes like that have no business getting 16, 17, and $18.5 million a year. And that was on LeBron James forcing the Cleveland Cavaliers to do that, whether that's through media, whether that's through social media posts. And then J.R. Smith, you did the same thing. You forced the Cleveland Cavaliers to sign him. Right now he's getting paid close to $14 million this year, close to $15 next year, and close to $16 million the year after that. Now, the Cavs, they can actually waive J.R. Smith on June 29th, 2019, according to SportTrack.com, before his 2019 salary becomes fully guaranteed. But as far as being up against the cap and, we can't make any move, it's all LeBron James. And even the coach, right? Tyronn Lue, he's in the hot seat. And I know they said, no, we're going to keep him. But as far as speculation on Tyronn Lue in the hot seat that he's on, this is the coach that you've wanted, okay? So, yes, the team has been bad. But, look, you can't forcing the team to sign J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson to those types of contracts are not beneficial to the team whatsoever. They aren't, because they put you in a situation like you are right now, where you're forced to try to be Superman every single game. And if you're not, you're probably going to lose the game. It's very reminiscent of the old Cleveland Cavaliers days where, he left Miami or he left Cleveland to go to Miami because of stuff like that. So he's probably going to leave Cleveland. I get it, but LeBron James doesn't get a pass in this whatsoever. Like I said, I think they'd be lucky to go 5 games against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. I'd be shocked. Maybe they get beat. Maybe don't even get to make the Eastern Conference Finals, because maybe a team like Milwaukee, who's done a much better job ever since firing Jason Kidd, maybe Milwaukee beats them. They're stacked as well. So the LeBron, and again, going back to Boston, this is a team, they're in the number 1 seed. This is a team without Gordon Hayward. They don't have Gordon Hayward. He's been out ever since, 30 seconds or 45 seconds since the opening tip-off of the NBA season, without Gordon Hayward, okay? And they're still out there kicking ass. Like I said, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, normally this is, it's fine. LeBron James, he'll bail them out of it. They still got Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, it's fine. They'll get out of it. This time, they're in a world of trouble, and I wouldn't be shocked if they don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, or if they get smashed in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they're going to the finals at all. The way I have it right now, the 2 teams, I've got the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors, and I actually wouldn't be shocked if the Houston Rockets make it. Now, they got to get over the hump as far as choking in the playoffs. James Harden, in particular, as far as when they went against the Clippers a couple of years ago when Chris Paul was there. And I remember they almost lost because they were down, I want to say it was 3-2. This was game 6, I believe. And I believe it was in L.A. And the Rockets, they were struggling and just getting their asses kicked, and they were about to get eliminated. And then Josh Smith came in and saved their asses while James Harden was on the bench, I believe, for the entire 4th quarter. And then not only that, but last year, I believe it was, when you went up against the Spurs and Kawhi Leonard, or was that the year before? I can't remember. You went up against the Spurs and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was gone. Kawhi Leonard was gone, and I don't know if it was game 5 or game 6, and James Harden played one of the worst playoff games in his life. The Rockets got smashed by a Kawhi Leonard-less San Antonio Spurs. So anyway, getting past all that, based on the talent and the new free-flowing type of basketball, the way they move the ball around is very, very similar to what the Golden State Warriors do. Now that they got Chris Paul and James Harden to pair the two together with their playmaking abilities, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to make the finals as well, although I would give the Golden State Warriors the edge. So Boston, Golden State, or the Rockets, we'll have to see. Oklahoma City, they're on the trajectory to rise up as well. We'll have to see. But this whole thing with LeBron James, man, this is actually the first time where I've sat here and said they're in a world of trouble. And then what's interesting is, with all the, you know what, one last thing I'm going to say before I end this podcast this week. Every single year, look, back in 2000 and I want to say, I don't know, the mid 2000s, right? For like 4 or 5 years, it felt like every single year after the NFL season, when the Brett Favre, will he retire or not? That saga, when that whole thing started, I think it was the early 2000s. But anyway, every single year, is Brett Favre retiring? Is he retiring? I don't know. And he would drag that on the entire offseason, and the Packers wouldn't know what to do. And then he finally come back and be like, all right, I think I'm going to play. I was like, we're really going to do this? 4 or 5 straight years of this? You know he's coming back. Why do you keep playing into this circus? And I said, you know what? There is nothing that will ever top this in my life as far as unnecessary sports drama. And you know what? I got to tell you, fair or unfair, intentional or not, LeBron James has surpassed that. He has surpassed that. And I never thought anything could ever go beyond the drama of Brett Favre every offseason. But with LeBron James, it's every single year, offseason and during the season. So this has just gotten too much. But at the end of the day, now this is finally just took a turn for the worse. This team looks like they're just terrible. I don't think they'll get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Not to say they won't. I think they would, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. So anyway, we do this once a week. Mediokr Best Sports Podcast with Realistic Randy, a Blue Vision Entertainment production. We'll see you next week.
This is T1.